like to start off by introducing who we have. I'm Dina Williams, the Director of Fine Arts. We have from our office, Steve Prudhomme, our Associate Director. And from PlayVS, we have James Kay, who has been with us the last season. He will be helping our teams get started this year. Chris Blatt, our Scholastic Partnerships person, and then Mike Buck, who is our customer success person who will help you throughout your season support. And so thank you for joining us, and we will let PlayVS take it from here.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you, Vina. Always a pleasure to work with you and TAPS. And honestly, just, it's been a pretty amazing time in the last year or so that we've had esports going on. Let me go ahead and throw up this this webinar here. It seems like, actually, Chris, I'm going to need permission to do screen sharing.
Yes, you will. Just give me a second. There you go. You should have it.
Perfect. Go ahead and do this one. I'll go ahead and let's present this, and let's see. Does that pop on all up?
That's good.
Perfect. Well, hey everyone. As you know, it seems like a lot of the attendees that we have are current schools. So just want to one, reintroduce myself. James, been with PlayVS since the beginning. Before PlayVS, did a lot of work in the collegiate and high school esports ecosystems, working at the NCAA, doing stuff with Blizzard, who is the people that do some of the esports titles. But in general, just I have a bunch of experience around how to set up programs, how to work with colleges, and kind of where everything else comes into play for when we run esports here. But just wanted to reintroduce PlayVS for those that might be new. PlayVS is effectively a group that works with all of the state organizations to go and build out these state championships. So here in Texas, working directly with TAPS to run the TAPS State Championship Series for esports, and really just have this really cool opportunity for students to participate. With that, I'm going to get into the agenda here. And I use that word esports a few times. So again, for the majority of the people here, I'm sure you already know it, but kind of getting into, what is esports? Honestly, it is organized video game competition. So this idea that, we have students that are currently playing video games right now at home, and we can take that activity and bring it as an opportunity for students to, have a more structured environment, to bring it after school, to work with the students and kind of normalize that idea of video games, and really help them find their place on campus. It has a lot of the same connections to traditional sports, that whole set of introducing critical thinking, communication, teamwork, problem solving, etc. But our goal here is to really make this into a formalized sport or activity. So yeah, from there, where does participation come from in terms of esports? The vast majority of the students that we have that have participated in esports in the past aren't coming from, they're not being stolen away from your athletics programs or one of your other activities. They're the students that honestly go to school, go home, play video games. The ones that aren't doing other after school sports or activities typically. So, we've seen that 45% of the students in the past, had never participated in any other sport or activity. So really cool opportunity to branch in and get these students that aren't doing anything after school or aren't being part of an organized after school activity, and, providing that really cool opportunity for them. The other thing that's really awesome about esports, especially here in the college side or the high school side, is that, there are tens of millions of dollars out there for students to kind of, pick up. And, especially here in Texas, I mean, there are 30, 40 or so universities that offer esports, official programs. Some of the really big names being UT Dallas, University of North Texas, Sam Houston State. There's a ton. Those are a lot of the public schools, but tons of private schools as well, from Blinn College, St. Mary's in San Antonio. Happy to, always kind of give you a list of some of the more nearby ones to you as well. But, on a more national-wide basis, there's hundreds of programs that offer this as well. So some of the big cool names are University of Utah, USC, and UC Irvine. So a lot of fun stuff going on there for the students that do get involved. A lot of really cool opportunities for them to, really get something out of play, right? I'm getting a little bit into, what we do here specifically. We handle all of the scheduling, matchmaking, the structure, and everything like that. Think of the amount of work that an athletic director would typically have to do to set up their week-over-week matches. Our goal is that we take that, on from our side so that you don't have to go and worry about doing all of that. So it really makes, getting involved in esports as simple as just making sure that you have the students, you have some computers, or you have some equipment, or you have somewhere to get this all done. You have somebody that is willing to oversee it, and you just are able to participate and kind of be ready and make this happen. So from our side, we work with TAPS, but we work with like the National Federation of State High School Associations as well. So really just our goal is to make those state championships and to make those kind of operate and work. I'm going to go a little bit, or I'll let Vina and the TAPS team kind of get into the specifics on, what it's required or what's required to participate from their side. And then I'll go into kind of, the requirements that, we have and the way to get started over here.
Thanks, James. So for TAPS eligibility, it is important, just like with all our other sports and fine arts, that your students are eligible to participate according to our bylaws. We do ask that you turn in your participation form by September 1st. Many of the schools have already been turning those in. So if your school has not turned it in, or they've already turned it in, if you're interested in esports, please make sure that gets added to that participation form. Your coach and your students do need to be compliant in rank 1. Their eligibility status needs to show as eligible, meaning they have completed their student acknowledgement of rules, their student profile, and their medical history. You do not need a physical for esports. Also in rank 1, your athletic director or fine arts director will need to help you set up the program to create that program in rank 1. And then also add those students to those rosters. Now, we are requiring you to have a roster per game. So you would create a program for Rocket League, create a separate program for League of Legends, and add those students to each of those rosters individually so that we can see which students are participating in which games. Later in the season, we'll ask for your team photo and social media. Later, not necessarily in the season, later this month, we'll be asking for the team photo and social media accounts so that we can follow and can support your teams throughout the season. And then especially at the end, when we award our champions, we like to have those team photos already in place so that we can put that out on social media. But more info will come on that. So just make sure that your students are compliant in rank 1. And if you need help with that, you can contact the TAPS office. You can send it info@taps.biz an email, or just call our office and one of us can walk through the process of getting them compliant in our system.
Perfect. Well, from our side, in terms of eligibility and things like those steps that you have to take to kind of get involved and started in esports is, one, we do have our website, playversus.com. So that's playvs.com. The student, the coaches themselves will go there, sign up and create an account. Students will go there, create accounts, and then, you as a coach will go and place those students onto rosters just like you would in rank 1. And then from there, our biggest requirement is that, or deadline is having these teams themselves created and enrolled into the season by the Friday before our first matches start. So that's going to be on September 23rd. So I'll go into some more specific information in the other slides, but in terms of the steps that are needed to take and eligibility side, like that is the biggest one. From our side as well, we do require that all of the students are at least 13 years or older. So that's less of an us thing. That's more of a U.S. Government policies around signing up for online sites and things like that. So absolutely, we do have some of these schools that are more of the K-12 institutions. You're able to kind of pull a little bit from those like eighth grade or so population as well. As long as you're following the TAPS related guidelines around things like that. So going a little bit into the season info itself and kind of what this upcoming season is looking like. So, I mean, first of all, we do have 2 seasons a year. So the first one's going to be in the fall, the second one in the spring. We're hoping to, have 2 state champions that we're going to be crowning this upcoming year per game. So from there, you're able to have students participate in, one or both. And each season itself is, it starts off with a 2-week-long preseason. That the entire goal there is for honestly you to break my website and to just try to make sure that everything works from that side, and then for us to make sure that your computers are working, you're able to get into these games. Like the real goal is to make sure that the equipment on both sides is really up there and working. And then we go into an 8-week-long regular season. So from there, having these weekly matches that are happening, and kind of playing out these matches from there. We split our games into 3 different days: Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'll let Mike get into the specifics on that, but our matches here in Texas with TAPS are going to actually be at 4:30 p.m. Central Time. So. And then from there, we do have a postseason right afterwards. We crown a champion, and we go into the next season itself. The spring season typically starts around Valentine's Day, and our goal is to get all and have everything done before all the state testing, the AP exams and things like that happen in around May. From there, we will have what we call our Play versus Cup at the very end of the year, where we take the winners from, say, the TAPS championship, the winners from our Texas state championship, the winners from all of our other states, and kind of put them all into one competition too, and see who wins out of there. And we put a ton of scholarship prizing and money towards that as well. So a lot of really cool opportunities there too. But Mike, if you want to kind of speak to what the season itself, or the rest of what the season itself is going to look like, and introduce yourself too.
Yeah, thanks, James. So just as a reminder, my name is Mike. I'm part of our newly built customer success team. So we are helping you enroll, onboard, get everything set up for success for the season. And then obviously during the season, support you and beyond your first season, or maybe you've been in the program for a while, grow your esports program to whatever that looks like for you. If you want to just add more teams, recruit more players, that overall success for the program. But just to dive into what a regular season looks like a little bit more, you can go to the next slide. So like James talked about a lot of these. So our preseason for the fall will start the 13th of September. And to kind of harp on his point again, the importance of preseason is just to, get all your bugs out and get all your tech situated so that when the regular season starts on the 27th, you have full confidence in your team that y'all are ready to go. You've already done a scrimmage or maybe one of the pre-planned preseason games. You guys are ready to go and set up for success. The absolute deadline to register is the 24th. And then once the season starts, you'll have those 8 weeks of games. There is a break for Thanksgiving, so you'll have an entire week off before the postseason starts, just to take a deep breath, get some strategy going heading into the playoffs. And then our postseason starts in December. All right, next slide. So we've got our 4 titles that are returning. We've got Madden 21 and FIFA 21. One change this year is going to be solos. So you can have a single athlete consist of a team, or teams consist of a single athlete. So the players will just play one-on-one, and this will be strictly on the PlayStation 4, Sony PlayStation 4. We're bringing back League of Legends. These are teams of 5. This is a MOBA, or multiplayer online battle arena. Now, this is a very popular one, so a lot of the coaches already are very familiar with this. Then we have Rocket League, which is teams of 3 from Epic Games. This will be 3-on-3. This is one that is cross-platform, so it doesn't matter if you have PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. You'll be able to play Rocket League, and Rocket League is free.
And to step in really quick here too, our goal for all of these leagues and games themselves is to have a TAPS-oriented competition. We do want to make sure that we have at least 10, 15 or so like schools or teams participating in there. But we're pretty confident that there should be we should hit that number for all of these as well. Yep.
Cool. And then we've got some additions. These were late additions last spring, but they're coming back. We've got Nintendo titles. We're very excited about this. There's been a lot of interest in the Nintendo Switch titles. So we've got Super Smash Brothers. This is going to be teams of 3. And then Splatoon 2, which is going to be teams of 4. Those will be played consecutively. Let's see. We do have some promo bundles. We're offering Switches, online promo codes, and some accessories. So those are available. And then we'll dive into our weekly schedule. We are allowing the coaches to kind of build your esports program the way you want to build it and the way that works for you. So keeping that in mind, we've allowed Mondays and Fridays to be cleared. That way you can schedule that for practices or scrimmages on your own. You can go into the dashboard and invite a rival high school to scrimmage with you, or maybe you want to do it internally within maybe you have separate multiple teams within your own school that can scrimmage against each other. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are game days and match days. Tuesdays will be reserved for League of Legends, Splatoon 2, and FIFA. Wednesday will be Super Smash Brothers. Thursday will be Rocket League and Madden. So just keep in mind and have the coaches and the players be cognizant of which games are on which day. They may not be able to play, both Rocket League and Madden because those happen on the same game day. Texas TAPS, that's going to happen at 4:30 p.m. Central Time. And again, Mondays and Fridays open for scrimmages, planning strategy, practicing, anything that makes sense for your esports program. We've left those completely free.
Yeah, I want to get into one more point here with kind of where these games are set up and how they're set up. So, each game will typically require its own equipment to, have things all set up. So a game like League of Legends being on the computer, a game like Splatoon being on the Nintendo Switch game console, basically a Game Boy you can plug into a TV. And then, FIFA here being like a PlayStation 4 related title. So, we've split these games into different days based off of the equipment that's required. So, if you only have, say, Nintendo Switch consoles, you're able to have, 2 game days or potentially even 3 game days with Rocket League being available on that as well. Or, if you only have computers, League of Legends and Rocket League being the 2 computer-based titles or computer-offered titles there. So just want to, keep in mind, how we're setting these dates, why we're setting them. It allows us to, reuse computers or equipment on different times. Now, those scrimmages that you mentioned as well, those are available not just on the Monday, Friday, but anytime on these days or the weekends. Honestly, we will have that open and available. It won't just be for the Texas or TAP schools. You can play against anybody. Pretty cool opportunity for digital citizenship. I do have a lot of schools that I work with in Hawaii, so imagine something kind of fun and neat and interesting, like playing against them, right? So there is a lot of cool opportunities there. How that system works is you just go to the website. There's a scrimmages button. You can press the create button. You can say what time you're free. Somebody else says that they're free at that time. Bam, boom, you're into the game, ready to go at that time. So getting into like pricing and things like that, we have two different types of like pricing plans and availabilities and things. One is, we have gone through and, we do have some free offerings and things like that. So, there's no participation dues or fees or anything, for participation in Rocket League, even for the TAP State Championship, from our side. So, no fees, no dues, completely free. The game itself is free as well. So effectively, I send you an invoice for $0 and you rip it up, kind of a deal. Like it's all pretty easy and not an issue. In general, though, we do have a like a requirement for the other games that comes out to approximately purchasing at least 8 seats over the course of both seasons. So that comes out to about $512 because it's $64 per seat. So one seat is, a participation in one game during one season. So, if you have a team for, say, Splatoon, where you have, 4 students, there's, 4 seats that are required for that season to participate. So that number for other leagues and things like that is typically 16 seats required, but I know that TAP schools are a lot smaller, so I've gone through and got the approval to change that to 8, which is a lot more reasonable for our small schools here. And yeah, that effectively gets you, for that 8, imagine you can have a Smash team and a League of Legends team for reference there, the 5 and the 3. So with that, we do have, as we kind of mentioned here, scrimmages are completely free as well. So, if you have some students that maybe they're not committal enough, or, they're interested, but you're not sure if they'll actually play every single week, setting up scrimmage matches is something that you can get into as well. But I think we're going to have a lot of fun in the TAPS League itself. So we'd definitely kind of, push on, making sure that you've got something there. But yeah, that's in general, very basically what it looks like. What do you get for participating as well is something that I would like to, at least get into. One of our games, League of Legends, we have a direct connection with the game publisher. So, we actually do go and unlock all the characters and champions within that game. So typically that would take, truthfully, hundreds of hours to unlock, or thousands of dollars. We unlock that for the entire season, which is pretty nice. It makes that the access and ability to get started really easy. For some of our other game titles, like Rocket League, the game's completely free to play, so pretty easy to get set up. But we do have a partnership with the game publisher to be built into the game itself, which is really cool. So when your students play, they'll get a little pop-up that says our play versus match is ready, press here. So a lot of really cool connections and things like that going on that side. We also have one more thing that is pretty cool is, we are, well, I'll just skip this one. We're giving away a Nintendo Switch out of this webinar itself. So for anybody that is, signed up to, attend this webinar, we're going to go through and give away, randomly a Nintendo Switch to anybody that is participating or that ends up participating in either Splatoon or Smash Brothers, for the TAPS League itself. So the Nintendo Switch being that game console that's required for the game, we'll have like a LAN adapter, which is like for, like an Ethernet cable effectively, for internet purposes, and a Nintendo Online membership as well, which gets access to, playing, online and things like that as well. But yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. So, just by attending this webinar and showing up, there is a chance to take that home as well. And then I'll go back one slide here, just for, where to direct questions and things like that. For anybody that's, brand new, that hasn't gone and done esports before, or honestly, if you've just got a really like a strong question that you've got to get on, like what to do or how to get started, you can reach out to me directly. There's my email there. I'll update this in a second. That just is my number as well, so you can just physically call me. That is, always an easy way to get a hold of me. For anybody that is already participating or already kind of knows what they're doing and things like that, We do have Mike here now. Anybody that's been here in the season before, you may have had like an account manager in the past. Mike is now like the person for anybody here in Texas, instead of spreading that between a bunch of random people and kind of, doing a bunch of confusion. We added a bunch of these customer success members too. So, it is actually, you're able to have somebody that is, working directly for you as well, which is a lot of fun, makes it a lot easier. Other things that we've done is, on the technical support side and match day issues, we've doubled that technical support staff as well. So there is a ton of people that man our support system now. So our goal is to get, match answers and answer your questions and things like that within, like 5 to 10 minutes of that actually happening. So that'll be great to, have that kind of, on match day itself as well. So one more time, the hierarchy, if you're brand new or have some, really high level question, reach out to me directly, or, reach out to Vina for anything TAPS related. If, you've got questions during the season itself around specifically what you're up to and, how to have a successful program on your side, reaching out to Mike here. And then if you have a question on match day and you need an answer ASAP, there is a little email address here, but I would actually suggest there is a little pop-up button on our website for a little support bubble. You can chat with them in real time right then and there. So I guess I'll open this all up to questions. One, if the TAP staff or Mike or anybody else has anything to either add or ask questions about, feel free to let me know, and then we'll go right into the Q&A and start going into those questions. Sounds like into the Q&A. So let's see what we've got. So the first question, what are the games available? So pretty, we went over that later on, but these are the 6 game titles that we have available for the for TAPS. So Super Smash Brothers and Splatoon, which are going to be Nintendo Switch exclusive games. So you'll have to have a Nintendo Switch console to be able to participate in those. We have Madden and FIFA, which are both specifically on the PlayStation 4. We did change those down to, they're in solos this year. They were in like teams of 3 before. So, only one student is required to participate in those titles now. And then we have League of Legends and Rocket League, which are, League of Legends is a computer only title, requires 5 students. Rocket League is honestly able to be played on almost anything. You can play it on the computer, on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation, the Xbox, like, whatever you have available, there is that as well. There's a question on, does Madden need PlayStation Plus? I do believe that PlayStation Plus is required for that because it's the having to, actually play online against other people. So that is a requirement. The follow-up question to that is, will TAPS have Smash Brothers if 20 teams sign up? Absolutely. Our goal is, without a doubt, having some sort of a TAPS-related league here for Super Smash Brothers. Honestly, it's something I'm super excited about and something the students are super pumped about. So I've heard way more than 20 teams worth of people that want to do it. So it's really going to be up to us here at TAPS just to, push it through and make it happen. The next question is, can we have a custom amount of seats besides 8? I may have more than that across all the game titles. Absolutely. 8 is our minimum in terms of what's required and things like that. So, definitely can change that amount. It does come out to about $64 to add an additional student or seat after that. The next is outside of TAPS. Can students compete in other games not included on the list? I have students interested in Valorant and Fortnite. From our side, we're not offering those game titles as a TAPS competition. We do offer one of those, Fortnite, in our youth league. So, there is an ability to, have your students, participate in that. We don't have any requirements for, it's not a school by school competition. It is a, the community after school flag football kind of a deal, just like you could have students participate in, something outside of campus. We don't have any requirements or restrictions in terms of what the students are allowed to play. Really comes down to your school, what your school is comfortable with. But yes, for other game titles, there won't be a TAPS related competition available. The next question is, Venus seemed to say that we need to have the form in by the 1st. I'm going to have to pitch this to my school. I'm just wondering if the hard start line is more like 9/14. Vina, if you want to step in on that one for me.
With the participation form, esports, most of our event activities have a fee that goes with that. We do not collect any money for esports. And so that is something that you can add at a later date. Ultimately, the 1st is our deadline where we're starting to push information out, and we prefer you be in the system as soon as possible. So basically, the longer you wait, the longer it takes for you to get in on the communications that we're sending out. But it is possible for you to add that. Be sure to make it by the deadline for that Friday before the first week of matches. They do have a preseason, a couple of weeks of that, and so ideally you would want to get in before those 2 weeks of preseason so that you can learn the system and get your games in, practice before the actual season starts. And I'm not sure of those dates.
Yep, those would be the 2 weeks before the preseason or before the regular season itself starts. So I believe that starts on the 11th or the 13th, one of the two.
It would be the 13th, so the week after Labor Day.
Perfect. I see one other question of does TAPS allow for 13 plus to play on a varsity team? From our side, we're allowing for that. Vina, if you can kind of speak to the eligibility requirements in terms of students that might be more like middle school side or kind of not maybe those 8th graders.
I'm going to need to get back to you on that one. We have allowed middle school students to participate like in fall band and some other activities. I just need to verify that that's okay with our compliance.
Perfect. So we'll have some follow up there around that hopefully pretty soon. Is there any other questions that are coming in? We've got a little bit more time here, and I just want to make sure that we're giving that to everybody. See, there was a hand raised here by Sean. I'm not entirely sure how to answer that. Chris, if you can help me out on that one.
I think he may have asked the question in the Q&A, but I've also allowed him to unmute himself if he wants to ask a question to us directly.
And in the meantime, I did get a verification that we are allowing those 8th graders to participate as long as they are, they still need to make sure that they are compliant in our system, but 8th graders are okay as long as they're 13 and over.
Perfect. No, that sounds amazing. Good opportunity for those students to, be able to kind of join that high school community and, get rid of those, freshman year jitters that they might have for not really, knowing what they're doing in that, right when they get to campus, right? Another question coming in of, do y'all provide any resources on how to set up and structure the team? So we have some resources on our website around that. There's like an entire coaching seminar that we have, which is pretty cool, called our Coach Academy. I believe it's just playversus.com/academy. I'll make sure that I have the link in there when we send out an email after this webinar, but that goes over each one of the games themselves, kind of the requirements, what's needed, but doesn't get into the specifics on like really like, in this circumstance, you're playing against this character, whatever it is, like, we don't want to get into that level of insight and details because a lot of that might get, it just might not be useful and in the, 6 months later when the game changes a little bit. So it is all very much so high level on how these games work, what the teams look like, how you can kind of find your best players and set things up. I see one more question here about, in general, how long do Super Smash Brothers, League of Legends, and Splatoon games last? So I'll kind of go into each one of these, but League of Legends is probably our longest set of competition times. We do something called a best of two system, which means that you're going to play, one game on both sides of the map, or effectively you're going to play two games, and you can either win, you can lose, or you can tie for that week. In that, those games, I typically say, on those Tuesdays, try to be available for, an hour and a half to 2 hours, and try to keep that time available. If you go for, having 2 hours available, you almost always will get out early, so it's a good way to kind of, make sure that you're not ever going over. When we do get to the playoffs themselves, we'll have a best of three system, so it might go a little bit longer, but I mean, the students are going to be kind of, fighting for their playoff chance. So, sticking and staying a little bit longer might be a little bit more easier for them. So just, make sure that you're available for that amount of time. Splatoon and Smash, typically I say, if you're available for about an hour to an hour and a half or so, that's around what's going to be needed. And then Rocket League is probably our shortest, where 45 minutes to like an hour 15 or so is a reasonable expectation. FIFA and Madden, given that they're solos, I would also say about an hour is probably a good reasonable expectation around how long that might last. Well, perfect. Any last questions or things that we can do? We're definitely going to send out an email here that goes over, one, has this recording itself. So, if you have any, want to dig back in and hear from us and kind of pull in something that we might have said, you can grab that. Ideally, in that email, we're going to have a link to something called our Coach Handbook, which is this, it's about a 20-page guide or so that goes into, what's going on in the season, some information, things like that. You don't have to read it front to back. Like, I would use that more as kind of the playbook, when you're having a good question, going and finding that information. And then, well, yeah, we already answered the question around 8th grade students. So, yeah, we'll make sure that those resources get your way. I see one more question coming in around how does the 3v3 system work in Super Smash Brothers? So what we do is, the question was actually, or the whoever asked it actually gave the right answer here, but we're gonna have 3 different rounds. So you'll have 3 players. They're all gonna play 1v1 against 3 players on the other team. They're gonna do best of 3 matches. So how it'll work is your first player will play against one of their players, your second player will play against another one of their players, and your third player will play against their last player on their team. Each game will be a best of 3, and effectively the goal there is whoever wins the most games wins that match for the week. Affectionately we call that system like crew battles. So, for anybody that's more familiar with Super Smash Brothers, that's effectively what we're using. You can find the specific details on that on our help site. So that's just going to be help.playversus.com. There's a ton of documentation there and that's available. And hopefully, that goes into our rule books, that goes into our season schedule and things like that as well. So one more place to find some information. But yeah, any other questions? And as that, as we're waiting for any last question here, Mike, if you want to give a quick little kind of sign off on, how to get in touch with you, or if they have any questions on, what the season itself looks like and things like that.
Yeah, again, success@playversus.com is our email. He's putting it right back up there. But we're here to get you through enrollment, set you up for success for the season, and then anything continued beyond that during the season, or if you have more longer term visions of what your esports program is looking like and what you want that to shape up to be, that's what we're here for.
And then I just want to do a quick plug on our podcast episode. Last year we did a podcast episode for esports with super coaches and just some talk about experiences. And so wherever you get your podcast, look for the Taps Talk episode 7 for our esports episode.
Yeah, a lot of great information there. Honestly, it was really, really well recorded. So always happy to have really cool content there. You can listen to John, really dig into some specifics on what these programs have looked like in the past and, how they're growing. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in here. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. We're going to shoot you an email afterwards, too. But otherwise, good luck, have fun, and, we'll talk to you soon.